Welcome to Toffee TV. It is just a quick instant reaction to tonight's AGM that has taken place at the Philharmonic Hall. On the whole, really positive AGM, I feel. Should we do the stadium stuff first? Because obviously that's the big thing people were looking forward to hearing. Nothing mind-blowing on the stadium, but the fact that they've actually addressed that we want to go to the docks is a big thing. Or Joe Anderson did. Everton kind of nicely skirted around it a little bit, as you'd expect, of course, with stuff still needing to be sorted out for there. But you know, obviously, I think we were all a bit hopeful that they'd come and nail the colours to the mast today and say we've got an agreement in place and we're going the docks and everything's great. Not at that stage yet, but certainly, you know, Robert Elstone spoke about the groundwork that's done. Farhad Moshiri spoke about the groundwork, everything else being in place, so that when we do, get everything sorted out, we can quickly progress. So that's a really positive bit of news, I think, for us Evertonians. I mean, we've been here before. There was the talk about the King's Dock, which was really only talk. There was lots of sketches and everything else, but as we know now, lots of things weren't in place, and I think that the club have certainly, certainly since Farhad Moshiri's been on board, they've made sure that they've taken the right steps this time. You know, we had the debacle with Kirby. There was the Walton Hall Park thing that realistically was never going to happen. That was there as well, and that was just all, smoke and mirrors. I think this time, certainly get the feeling that this time we are moving in the right direction with that stadium. Joe Anderson, quite bravely just stood up and said, I'll address the elephant in the room. We all want to go to the waterfront. And that's what we're working hard on. There's still hurdles to overcome. You'd expect that. But I think really positive news on the stadium, and everybody should feel, buoyed by that news. Other things, I mean, Farhad Moshiri speaking a little bit like the ghost of John Moores, almost, talking about us, we know we're a great club and, we've got a fantastic history, but we don't want to be a museum. We want to actually win things. That's music to our ears. It's music to my ears. All I wanted, listen, Man City, Chelsea got big billionaires that came in and just threw money at problems, and quickly progressed their clubs. The other crowd have thrown hundreds of millions at it. And we've always had to sit down, haven't we, and sit outside the shop window looking through, rubbing that thing and having a look at everyone else developing and progressing and buying players. And all I wanted was a plan. I wanted someone to come in and say, you know what, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do these steps and try and take you forward as a club and be able to bridge some of those gaps. And it feels like we're getting it now with Farhad Moshiri. There's other people. I don't believe he's doing this all by himself. I still think he'll get other people on board. Will it be Usmanov? Quite possibly. If his hands remain to be tied. But if it isn't Usmanov, there's other businessmen that Farhad Moshiri deals with, and I'm quite sure if the stadium kicks on, they'll want a piece of the pie as well. And if we can get a strong board full of money men, why can't we progress? But there seems to be a skeleton there now in place of where we want to go, and it's up to us to put the meat on it. He was speaking about how we have to strengthen the team now. We've got an opportunity. There's a window open. We've got an opportunity to really try and bridge that gap. I think he knows that it's not going to be easy. He knows that he's going to have to put his hand in his pocket. Certainly the club are to bring in players that Ronald Koeman wants. And, I think that's really positive. I mean, Bill Kenwright said that Farhad Moshiri wants to buy as many players as possible, or more players than maybe Ronald Koeman wants or we want. And that's great news, isn't it? Having someone at the top end who goes, you know what, we do need this player and this player and this player. And I hope he's there like that with his money to Ronald. So, that was very positive. We had Robert Elstone standing up and talking about a new shirt sponsor, which will be 300% more than our last year deal, and that's great news as well, because that's more evidence to me that Farhad Moshiri has come in and gone, this isn't good enough. That area is rubbish. That area is not good enough. And now we're going to develop Everton as a brand, and we're going to demand more money. This is the biggest league, you know, the most lucrative league in world football. The amount of money that gets poured into the Premier League, and Everton are on TV and they're getting bounced around the world, and your name will be. Let's give us more money, and that's what it sounds like. You know, in the past we took £7.50, you know, £7.50 a year to sponsor us or something like that. You know, and a bag of balls and 2 nets or something, and it's about time we started saying, hang on a sec, we are still England's 4th most successful club, and we're a big name, you know, and we've got a big crowd, and we're trying to get back up there, and you need to pay us, you know, the right kind of money. And if we can do those deals, that helps with, you know, the financial fair play in terms of wages and other things that have hamstrung us for years. And it just feels as though we're finally moving forward, doesn't it? One fantastic piece of news is the fact that Everton have said that season ticket prices are going to be frozen or even reduced in some cases. And I think there's a new season ticket age band for 22 to 24-year-olds, I think, something like that. And that is just fantastic, because it is about rewarding the fans. It's about looking after your fans. Too many other clubs just want to take and take and take off supporters. And whether you're critical of Everton or not for certain things that they do, I think it's really, really, you know, it's a fantastic gesture. Yeah, listen, I could stand here and say they don't really need our money, so it should only be, you know, £100 for the season ticket. But listen, it's a business and it is what it is. But to be told already in January that there's not going to be an increase next year in your season ticket, there's going to be a reduction, and it's affordable for families, or a little bit more affordable for people. That's fantastic news. And you'd have to say that, you know, the fans forum who were involved in that as well have done really well in working with the club. So a big pat on the back to everyone there, because that is great news for us as supporters. Steve Walsh stood up and spoke about his involvement in everything football-wise, you know, in the club, and it is, you know, his responsibility to identify players, and, you know, him and Ronald Koeman want to build a really, you know, a top-class Everton side. And that's great to see now how that structure develops. You know, obviously, it's looking to bear fruit already, isn't it? It looks as though Ademola Lookman will complete his move to the club either tonight, or if not, it's looking more likely to be tomorrow now when he signs from Charlton. And, you know, some of that fruit's coming in, and it'll be interesting now over the next three or 4 weeks, because we do have to spend money in this window. We've got a 7th in the league at the moment. There is a bit of a gap for the top 6, but we can start putting markers down now, and this links to the summer as well. If we can get, you know, some big name players, or certainly if we can strengthen with better players than we have now, it bridges that gap for the summer, and it also lets other players look and think these are going places. You know, there was a lot of hot air in the summer in terms of we wanted A, B, and C. We didn't get them, but if we can do it now in January, heading towards the summer, that'll give us some momentum to go to. But the better players in the summer and say, look, we are a project, if that's what you want to call it. We have got a vision and a view, and we are trying to bridge that gap on those top sides, and we want to get there, and we're getting there because we're trying to get this player and that player in. We're moving to a new ground on the Docklands. Everything then points to Everton moving forward, rather than just being, yeah, you know, we're a team that can finish in the top half of the Premier League to be. And hang on a sec, we're a team that wants to win things, and we know it'll be difficult, but we're trying our best to get there. And why not? Leicester City proved last year that you can have success if you get it right, and we don't just want to be a Leicester City. You know, although, yeah, I'll put my hand up and say, yeah, I'd love to win the Premier League. We want to be a team that can try to fight for cups and league titles, you know, on a regular basis, and get into those higher places. And if you do that, if you speculate to accumulate and you bring those players in, it means you turn around the players is a higher value when you're moving players on. Sponsorship come in. You want to try and make the club self-sustainable, or certainly increase every revenue. You do that by spending that money in the first place. We've not been able to do it, hence why we've fallen further and further and further down the pecking order. But it sounds as though Farhad Moshiri has come in and wants to put us back. Then he said this at the start, and then it went a bit quiet, and But ever since the summer and sacking Martinez, who Robert Ellis don't blame for the reason why we didn't turn in a profit this year, you know, sacking him and getting Ronald Koeman in, he wanted him as number one, and getting Steve Walsh in, and, you know, a nice little relationship he's got with Jim White there, and, you know, telling him who we're going to buy. Everything points to the fact that Everton are now beginning to be upwardly mobile again, because for too long we've just been treading water, and that's the reality. And, you know, we are where we are. We can moan about it and bemoan the fact that we've wasted time and we've missed opportunities, and if we'd have spent a bit of money here, and if, you know, if we'd have got a different board in and all that, we are where we are, and it's about now, and it's about moving forward. And I'm listening to a lot of that stuff from the AGM. I'm really, really positive that we are moving forward. The right man is in there, or certainly a man with a vision who can help us grow. And if he delivers us at Dockland Stadium and, you know, better players, it's fantastic, and the money hopefully will flow from that as well. So I'm really positive about what I've heard at the AGM. I don't think I've missed out any of the major points. They're the points that I was interested in anyway. What do you think? What do you think about? Were you disappointed that there wasn't more on the stadium? In terms of confirmation, I suppose the club can only say where they're up to at the minute, and if negotiations aren't complete, you've got to be very careful in terms of negotiations. So I suppose they were a little bit hampered in what they could say, I suppose. Are you happy with what you hear from Farhad Moshiri? You know, Ronald Koeman again reiterated he's happy to be at this big club. You know, the fans are fantastic, and he's excited to be part of that project. Steve Walsh spoke about how excited he is, and, you know, his job in terms of recruitment and identifying players that are going to make us better. Are you happy with that? Are you happy with Farhad Moshiri saying Evertonians are fantastic and they keep buying them bevies on the train, and he, you know, he's determined for us not to just be, oh, Everton are a good club. He wants us to be winners. That's the key thing for me tonight, is that he doesn't want us to just be a museum, as he put it. He wants us to actually win things, be relevant, and be an elite club again. And that's the challenge, isn't it, facing everybody? But we've seemed to have a winner. We seem to have someone with drive and a vision at the helm, and that for me can only be a good thing. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. I've been Baz. I'll see you soon on Toffee TV. Farhad Moshiri.